you know, ooh, spooky, creepy. Makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
There you go.
Kalera is just blowing my mind here with all the information. Let's check out our battleground for game number 3. You are just an encyclopedia of Warcraft lore.
I played a lot of Warcraft, my friends.
It would appear so. For a moment there, I was like, this is Clarence. This is my nerd buddy right here. This is him.
That's what I do.
You're the guy I'm bringing to lunch to learn all this stuff about all the video games. All right, our third map, we are going to Brax's Holdout, and it will be picked here by the Playing Ducks. Now, this is a battleground that they have had banned against them multiple times throughout the entire HGC. So something must be here for this team.
Yeah, I think that, you know what's funny? They could bring out Chromie again, and they could have success with it.
Yeah.
It does have success here. We've seen it in HGC Europe so far. I would like to see them try and aim for a comp like that again, but they'd have to pick it towards the end of the draft.
Yeah.
And it could be jumped on by Dignitas in terms of counters, so we'll see.
The thing is, you don't even have to build a comp around Chromie for her to be effective on this battleground, with it being 2 lanes. You just set up in that 4-man rotation easily, and she just sieges all day and get set up, and eventually you will break your opposing team. The true thing you need to do in order to run Chromie on this battleground is you have to have a solid top lane, and you have to have a solid top lane that you don't think will lose.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one thing that is important to note is, again, though, Playing Ducks is the big underdog here, or the underduck, whatever you want to call it, in this series.
I like underduck.
The underdog.
I like it. It's cute.
So you've got to bring out wild things like that. Just bring it to the table. You're not expected to win in this series. Try and throw something at Dignitas like that can just potentially get you up 2-1 here.
And here's the other side of the coin, though, too, is that Playing Ducks still have to consider what they're going to play on Sunday, so you can't reveal too much.
Right,
They're pigeonholed here, it seems like, when it comes to all of these mix-ups. That one was reaching.
How many bird references?
Dignitas will ban out their own bird, though.
Yeah.
Falstad taken out. And I kind of like that thinking here from Dignitas. While Falstad won't win the top lane, he will hold on forever. He'll never straight up just lose that matchup, and he has that rotation capable available for him. So the Playing Ducks bans out ETC, and we have Tassadar, Ragnaros, Malfurion. Oh, spiciness!
Oh,
Tassadar is taken here from Dignitas.
all right. So I'll be honest. I haven't played much of new Tassadar at all. I played 1 or 2 games.
Sure.
I'm not as comfortable with him. Have you been able to play quite a bit?
I've dabbled a few times.
Yeah?
He feels more threatening with Archon. It feels like Archon is the way to go now.
That's true.
Can be very, very devastating. He can also get incredible flanks. He gets his own shield, his Q, to himself when he turns into Archon. So now you have survivability, Tassadar baked into his Archon. Now, things to note, his 1 through 4 is kind of mediocre, but you don't have to worry about your 1 through 4 on a 2-lane map.
Yep.
You also you don't have the ability to survive like we used to with the old Tassadar. But with all the negatives thrown out there, the positives are great. His shield now is much more impactful.
Yep.
You can build into it very heavily into level 4.
Yep.
You also can enable any assassin that you want with your Valas, your Tracers. They're all still great mix-ups.
So what they're looking to do, because the shield at level 1, right, if you actually do go for it down that path, you need to collect a lot of globes. I think it's 40? Is it 40 globes?
Yeah, you have a lot of things to stack at level 1, which is pretty insane.
So you need to, in essence, control your lane, because you want to have the regen globe that's just south or north of your lane as well, right? If you're the Tassadar team here, in theory.
You also have the level 1 talent where you can build out your storms, where you get the slowers on your auto attack. You also get more range as well. So there are options here with the new Dignitas, and I want to see what the pros are thinking with their mix-ups. You have to take Vala away.
Yes, definitely.
Playing Ducks do it. They take Vala, and they also grab their Malfurion. So they have a strong support. They have a strong foundation already here. Dignitas on their side now.
The problem is that now, does Playing Ducks' second ban have to be Tracer? Do you think?
With it being Zarya?
I think so.
I think if you were... Yeah, I lean towards it. I just think Brax's Holdout...
It's not the most common map.
Can Tracer be insane on this battleground? I feel like you can hold her in.
Yeah.
But then there's a difference between holding Tracer and dealing with Zarya, right? And maybe you're right. The ban should probably be the choice here for the Playing Ducks. Over to the left, though, Ragnaros is picked up. And now we have the Rhaegar. So we have our double support foundation. There is obviously going to be a hyper carry later on for Dignitas.
Okay, so now that I look at this, I think that Snitch is going to be on the Tassadar, Zarya's on the Ragnaros, and then later down the line it could be Gul'dan, so not Tracer. So I think that this ban should be Gul'dan, not Tracer. What do you think?
Gul'dan.
Unless they wanted to take it themselves, but I don't think so.
Then what do you put in the top lane? You have your Ragnaros. What do you put as your warrior with ETC being banned out?
You can go Tyrael again? I think Tyrael solo's fine with Tassadar and Rhaegar.
What do you think about Zarya and an auto attacker instead?
You mean for Team Dignitas?
Yes. And you just control the lanes. You have incredible shielding in the bottom lane. I don't know what auto attacker you go into. Do I dare say we see our first Zul'Jin in EU?
Oh, God.
Yeah, right? Hammer. Oh, that was the auto attacker. That was the answer, actually. I could see a Zarya, Hammer, Tassadar, Rhaegar comp owning bottom lane with Ragnaros up there.
That's our first Hammer interaction in HGC Europe.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
We haven't seen her in EU. That it literally just not on the tip of my tongue, but we see it so much in Korea already.
Yes, we do. We do.
And you bolster that bottom lane with Zarya and Hammer, you could be devastating. The Playing Ducks on the right side. I kind of wonder if they take Zarya here, get their shields, power their Vala, have Malfurion as well.
I'm saying that's our first interaction in EU, but it might be our second because we might have had one in an expert series.
The point still stands, though. We don't see her.
Yeah, it's very uncommon.
Here in Europe in week number 4. So Zarya makes sense here. Do you hold out on your tank? The Hawk has been manned out, which would have been my first choice. Do you grab Thrall? You could hold Thrall off to the end because Ragnaros is already in the top lane. So I think it's tank here. I would not mind seeing Murd and Zarya be the pickup here for the Playing Ducks. They've ran double tank in the past. They've even ran triple tank.
I mean, they can go Medivh as well.
True.
Medivh on this map is very strong, and it does couple up with Valor quite nicely, but they will go the Zarya route. So, you know, it's 50-50 on what they want to go. That's a good front line. I really like the way that they're going to be complementing Valor here.
Yeah. They have everything to give all the tools here, which should be Chris playing there. Sport Billy plays a mean Zarya.
Yep.
In week 1, he debuted his Zarya, and while they didn't win their matchup, he was still a gleaming hope for that team.
I suppose one thing that kind of justifies Zarya over the Medivh is as much as, yes, shields complement Valor and Medivh's very good with her, Zarya brings more to the wave clear department than Medivh will. Unless, for example, with your ability as Medivh, you're able to hit heroes at the same time as the wave, but that's very unlikely. At least Zarya doesn't rely on that. The particle grenades are just going to be able to chew through stuff.
And she's a bully on this battleground. The explosion zone is wonderful around the beacon phase. She has her poke there with the grenade build that you were just talking about. So Dignitas, I need an auto attacker for them. With Sergeant Hammer being taken out, gosh, man, I don't know. I keep thinking about the Zul'Jin pick. There's Tyrael, and there it is. There's Zul'Jin. Okay, they did it. Wow.
You know what makes this even better is the fact that they do have Tyrael.
Yeah.
The fact that, yeah, okay, they have Tassadar with it, but the fact that they have Tyrael for sanctification after the potential of a Taz Dingo comes in, I think that we saw a lot of it in North America. I think that this is a brilliant comp to actually sustain this for Brax's holdout.
Yeah. Zul'Jin can do very well in the formula rotation. We're seeing it in HGC. It hasn't panned out so well, but I think they're onto something in HGC North America. I think they're onto something with Zul'Jin being in the bottom lane. Here, Europe has their spin on it. They have the shields with Tassadar set up. They have their Tyrael engage as well.
It feels like this is the perfect spot for it in a draft.
Yeah.
Towards the later stages, when you've got good shields with it, when you've got good enablers with it, not just kind of throwing it in here or there. This is very well thought out, and you caught onto it halfway through this draft to where everything works well together. So very, very powerful, I think.
Yeah, Tassadar can literally just babysit Zul'Jin. Rhaegar's there for the save. To the right, we need an engager. Ooh. Wow, Sonya. Okay, so I was talking to Dunk Train week and a half ago. Shout out to Dunk Train and his glorious beard and his magnificent brain. We kind of feel like Sonya is kind of one of the best tools for dealing with a Tassadar. You put out so much sustained damage with your Whirlwinds. There's not much damage that actually comes out of the opposing team when you're running these compositions. It's Rhaegar and Tassadar. They sustain through very well. Zul'Jin will be the majority of the damage for this team, but Sonya can literally sit in the back line and she does not die. She gets a Wrath at level 10, and even getting Life Funnel at 13 can destroy frontline comps that are based around shields.
And obviously she did have a little bit of a change coming into this patch as well. So she's in a position where I'm very excited for this game.
Me too.
This is our first Sonya.
Yeah.
This is our first Zul'Jin in HGC Europe as well.
Our first new Tassadar?
Yes.
Yes.
So actually, now that I look at that, I'm curious as to who's playing what. Because where does Mene end up? Does he end up on Tassadar? Does he end up on Ragnaros or Zul'Jin? I'm assuming it has to be one of the ranged. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, maybe Tassadar? That's weird, though.
And then Snitch on the Zul'Jin?
I'm going to cheat.
I don't know, because we've seen Tassadar in the past.
Mene's on
From
Zul'Jin.
Snitch. So Mene's on Zul'Jin.
Mene's on Zul'Jin. This is exciting.
Could we have W Guillotine build from him? That's kind of magey.
This is very exciting.
Not the most efficient way to build Zul'Jin, but we could see it happen. All right, guys. Game number 3. If you're excited, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. We're going to Brax's holdout here. Zul'Jin facing off against Sonya.
All right, to the left-hand side here, Bakery will be on Rehgar. We will have JPL following things up on Tyrael. We have Snitch on Tassadar. And next up, it's going to be Mene on Zul'Jin. Wow, wow, wow. And finally, Zarya on Ragnaros.
To the far right, the Playing Ducks with Joe on Malfurion. Chris Explosion will be showing his variant gameplay. We'll also have Sport Billy bringing back out the Zarya that we saw in week number 1. Chris with Vala. And last but not least, Nande. Going to show the Gladiator herself, the Barbarian, Sonya.
What an exciting way to kind of get into the middle of this series. As now we're going to see how things are dividing up. So Sonya solo against Ragnaros. Again, not something I'm used to seeing because I thought Sonya had been lost in the void somewhere. I don't know where she went.
Sonya can be devastating in that lane. She took block instead. I wouldn't mind seeing War Paint, but still, she can hold that lane well. The lifesteal she gets can be pretty darn strong. She actually gets more lifesteal now from heroes than she did in the past.
This is interesting. They're moving Zarya towards the top as well for a 2-on-1 to start things.
I feel like Dignitas actually just wins this lane here with the Tassadar and the Zul'Jin, so the counterattack from Playing Ducks makes sense. You put 2 in the top lane, you stop Ragnaros from stacking his Q, and you push him in, and you grab towers. They can hold here with Vala and Malfurion. The multi-shot will be enough to slow down the thing. And there we go. Energy being built. Zarya going to hold for now. Tassadar has decided to mount up and start the rotation. We're starting to see this more. More and more and more on Brax's holdout, which I'm loving to see. 3 and 2 lanes.
You know what it also might be? Is that they want to remove as many options as possible for Zul'Jin to build Juonax, because obviously that Zarya is someone that will be sitting very close to waves to try and kill them off slowly, and that would only be feeding Mene early on, whereas Malfurion and Vala can do well. Varian doesn't really have to go too far forwards. Most of his wave potential, cleanup potential is in the in that strike that he just used. So that could be one of the reasons as well.
Mene working in these attacks.
Getting a lot in.
Throwing axes left and right and in circles. Sport Billy and Nande helping out with the engagement as well. Zarya on the right. Finally getting those shields, can start engaging on the fight. That slow is very annoying if you're a melee warrior. Do remember now, with the latest change to Tassadar, he now uses Distortion Beam naturally baked into his kit, so he will slow you down with his auto attacks if you are taking the brunt of that damage.
It's a true tickle beam. It's StarCraft 2. It's StarCraft 2 Sentry style, where it's like, no, it's not really doing much, but it's definitely there. That's like the party popper of Heroes of the Storm.
Yes. JPL continue with the aggression down here. Zarya in trouble though. Nande and Sport Billy have section him off. Can they get it? There it is. Nice. The final slam, that movement speed kicking in for Nande by using his abilities was enough to land the kill on the Ragnaros.
I think that the change in the rotation for Playing Ducks was fantastic. Like the 2-3. Sonya and Zarya have been able to provide ample firepower in that lane compared to having to rotate a Tassadar around. Because if they didn't rotate Tassadar, who else would they have rotated? I look at this 3-man and can't think of anybody else they could have sent up there, really.
I think Rehgar could have been okay with the counter engage, but still you have shield. I think I agree with you. Tassadar is probably one of the better options.
Yeah, then you just lose out on that weird sustained 3v3 fight towards the bottom against Malfurion, and that's going to be JPL going very low. Chain Heal comes out there, and they pick up the Varian in response. And get out? No, they do not. Chris going deep. Will he be able to get Jay?
He's about to have a Hungering Arrow available. No, does not go for it. Wolf Joe does get counterattack though. Chris getting a little too aggressive for his team, not securing the kill. It's going to turn around and bite them here. Bakery going for the bite himself, hopping on Chris, getting him low on health. And the beacon phase continues for our teams. Only 10% for the Playing Ducks. So this top lane is starting to be owned here. We have wall down, turret down, as well as the big shield there in the middle. As somehow Sonya and Zarya are a devastating combo.
Yeah, so Callous Light is coming in at level 4 for Snitch, which when the shield expires, it gives that target 25 armor for 3 seconds. So aside from the shield that he's going to be getting, that they're slowly building up to make bigger and bigger, the armor after that is going to provide so much help to, say for example, a Zul'Jin that doesn't necessarily want to be at high health, but wants to be resilient and stable.
That's a really good point, actually. Just having that armor put on Zul'Jin just makes him that much stronger. That's another thing, too, is with this lane here, you see that Manny's actually at full health all the time. This is intentional from Wolf Joe, Chris, and the crew down here. You don't want to put Zul'Jin in a spot where he's sitting around half health. That's his happy spot. That's his happy medium. So
that's Zul'Jin's happy place.
That's his happy place. He's seriously like, I'm half health. This is a good day. I'm feeling pretty buff right now. The attack speed starts kicking in, and he starts to really destroy that lane. It's where you can start to have the own there from Zul'Jin. So not doing damage is actually the best play to do damage to Zul'Jin, if that makes sense. Zarya here continues to get poked down. 7-7 very soon for both of our teams. A slight edge has been eked out here by the Playing Ducks. 32-0.
Oh, Chris
Explosion in trouble. Variant having a hard time escaping, but that parry kicking in here. Chris goes for the engage on Mane. Mane, though, looking for more. The swipe here from JPL, and that will be a takedown.
Yeah, they could have lost 2 there if Wolf Joe's roots hadn't been absolutely on point. So good stuff by him, but again, losing a member, not the best situation. At least Vala's now gaining some speed with her build. The fact that her level 4 talent here with that puncturing arrow is building up. It's about halfway to completion. But that's the kind of nature of Praxis Holdout. It's just skirmish after skirmish after skirmish against your opponents, and not much more than that.
Build coming out for the Playing Ducks. We got a Ruin build as well as Ferocious Healing here. Going to be able to take some of that Fury and heal up. Nande will be very tanky against the opposing team. 3-on-3 in the top lane now is Fort Billy. Chris Explosion and Nande will be attempting just to survive here as Ragnarok continues to poke them down. Pushed out of lane for the moment while he pushes them in the bottom lane for Dignitas. They grab the Hellbats, they have their Zul'Jin, they have their Rhaegar here, and we will be able to have some percentage going the way of Dignitas.
May I say, as well as a slight tangent whilst the beacons have been captured, that I love that we have Warcraft 2 Zul'Jin, not World of Warcraft Zul'Jin. Because World of Warcraft Zul'Jin with one arm and channeling the spirits of all sorts of animals is nowhere near as interesting to me as Warcraft 2 Zul'Jin with lots of axes and keeps throwing them really, really fast.
Is my lore horrible, or is the World of Warcraft Vol'jin?
That's a different character.
Okay,
completely.
Gotcha. So my lore is horrible with Warcraft. Thank you for confirming that.
He was the chief of the Darkspear tribe. I
just wanted to test you, actually.
Oh,
you passed. Good job, dude.
Thank you.
You're so smart.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
I had those confused for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
No. So he was actually previously the war chief of the Horde for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Until some bad things happened to him.
That's unfortunate.
There you go.
Poor guy. Bad things happening here. Dignitas is looking to actually take the beacon phase. They have finally made their power play. They used a rotation here to grab top lane. The Playing Ducks just did not recover. 100% to 80%. Zerg swarming for both our teams.
I love that your lore knowledge is rubbish. We counteract each other so well. It's brilliant.
By far the worst knowledge in the world, man. I can tell you builds on StarCraft all day. I studied those forever.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What's a Kerrigan? What does she even do, man? All right, so engages down here in the bottom right. Level 10 about to hit for Dignitas, and they are pushing hard here. Molten Core has been using the top lane to slow down the push from the Playing Ducks.
Oh my god.
And Dignitas is just taking over the map now here. Zul'Jin just chunks through infrastructure. His cube actually does hit forts and as well as turrets. You can see the damage just stacking up quickly with the aid of the Zerg.
Yeah, and he hasn't even had to pop Archon here as Tassadar at all just yet. No real risk of anything crazy going down. The shield's soaking up quite a lot here for JPL at the front, looking for more towers. Level 10's about to pop here for Playing Ducks, but I still think that Dignitas is in a very, very good spot here. Now, I'm very scared when we go into an actual team fight. For like this, the Zul'Jin is going to do a lot of damage, so it's going to be interesting to see how Playing Ducks tries to counteract that.
Yeah, it's a weird way to fight against the Zul'Jin. There's this weird moment where you have to decide you can kill him or not kill him, because you don't want to give him value. If you have a Vol that bolts in and goes for the engage, and there's a shield or a heal there for Zul'Jin when he gets low on health, especially with that 25% armor you were talking about, he cleans up the fight with no problems, especially with the slow from Tassadar. So Playing Ducks will have to definitely play on point here to get the engages they want. And the thing is as we go to late game, Ragnaros gets better, all the things we talked about in the past. We have Sanctification too for Tyrael to keep him alive. We also have Holy Ground at 16. The Playing Ducks are going to have phenomenal explosion zones into Raid of Vengeance, it feels like, and even taunts to get these takedowns.
All right, so capturing camps up towards the top here as Playing Ducks trying to gather a little bit of momentum on their side once again. Dignitas, though, patiently waiting. I said patiently. They decided they weren't patient enough, and they were just going to launch themselves forwards anyway. The thing is, Ragnaros had dispersed down towards the bottom, so you can kind of clean up that hard camp. himself and allow this easy camp with this wave to just push anyway. One of the better people to send down here to deal with that, whilst Playing Ducks looks for some advantage towards the top, looks to equalize the odds at least.
All 5 teams here on the top. Playing Ducks going for their engage. Ragnaros has pushed them bottom and does begin to move in for the rotation, but it might be too late. Playing Ducks already has the 4 taken down. The Archon does pop, as you mentioned, Dimensional Shift here as well. Tyrael will get silenced, so no certification. Nande goes for the engage, but does miss forwards. The Sphere here. Here's Zarya, though.
And looks like Zarya look for a Sulfura Smash. I think he just isolates Nande. Doesn't even need to do it. That is going to be Sonya going down. A great launch forward there from JPL with the Ancestral Healing on him as well, just to realize that he had so much power behind that. And most importantly, Twilight Dream was down from that previous silence that you mentioned. So good stuff from JPL. He doesn't have any mana anymore, though, so they're going to have to get out.
And this is where 13 hits. It's so close, where Tyrael gets opposing will, Resilient Flame pops in for Ragnaros. That was a moment Playing Ducks had to make a play.
Yep. And
they got swatted down.
Yes.
Nande, unfortunately, missed a spear there. That would have been a chance for the team to turn around and go for a kill, and then turn that fight into a 5v4 as Ragnaros got there. With it not connecting, he was caught out of position. And the Playing Ducks are looking more for this play. They know that the power spike for Dignitas hit so hard here at 13. They start to engage on a boss, actually. This is a aggressive play, especially with Oracle being available.
There are no Sanctifications down. They're not level 16 yet at Team Dignitas, so they can use Expulsion Zone to try and capture this for themselves. This is a very big power play. If it's going to work, it's going to work. And yes, it does.
Good call there from the Playing Ducks, but they start to lose members. Nande in trouble, as well as Varian. The boss is grabbed, but that should be cleaned up relatively well here from Dignitas. And now they get a free clear on the boss. They also can move to the top lane and start to grab the beacon phase. A big play from the Playing Ducks, just not quite paying off as much as they would have liked.
If I'm Mene, I just stand in the shots of that boss and then just clean this up even quicker, because he's cleaned it up fast.
Yeah, it's crazy how you start thinking about where can I take damage and how quickly. As Zul'Jin, I agree with you. That's a good play there. Oh, another engage here. So Fierce Smash comes out and Sport Billy with the aid of the Archon from Snitch and that big, massive body block coming in. Another takedown, and Playing Ducks are beginning to crumble here as we head in the mid game. 14-12. Top 4 is definitely in trouble. 30% being built up on this beacon phase.
So Mental Acuity for Snitch is now complete at level 7, which means that after 5 takedowns, the Oracle range is increased by 50%, I believe. And he also has Adduin's Wisdom, which means that means every basic ability's cooldown is 50% faster when Oracle is active. So there's definitely a lot of power now behind Tassadar, who is helping out a lot. About halfway through his level 1, though, so for all intents and purposes, this game could be finished before he even gets that complete.
Yeah, it could be. So big push in the top, 100% to 0. I wouldn't mind seeing Dignitas stack up all 5 members here and go for a push. You can get the engage. You already have Hellbath pushing in the bottom, so you have that natural push already occurring for your team, and they do so. They set up for the push, and now Playing Ducks has to watch out. They have to clear this wave, and then they also have to deal with the idea of Molten Core popping at any time with Zarya, especially near the keep. If this entire Zerg phase gets to the keep with the Guardian still alive, I see a scenario where Dignitas goes for a win.
Zarya's positioning is very aggressive at the moment as well, so he looks to get on as much damage as possible towards these towers. So as you say, he can try and open up those possibilities for that Molten Core to come in. Nande on the left-hand side looking for a flank. He was spotted though with Oracle, so it's very difficult for him to actually make a play here, considering, but they absolutely need to. They need to do something before 16 hits.
There they go. They go for the engage. Nande has hit level 13, so Life Funnel is available. He's going to be hard to kill when he pops that Wrath and he uses his Whirlwind. But it doesn't look like it's too hard for Dignitas as they take out Nande instantly here. The Archon into the Missile Fear Smash with still enough damage to actually kill out Sonya. Big Ancestor Healing from JPL. They continue their push. The Keep is in trouble. 2 Guardians are still alive. Molten Core is still available for Zarya, but the Playing Ducks hold for a second as the kite back continues for Dignitas, looking for potentially more big holy ground. Chris on the right side here. There goes the engage, and we do have a Sonya available in 2 seconds.
And that's going to be Twilight Dream hitting 3, but really not doing too much. That's the Keep going down. Now, one thing to note is that JPL actually picked up his holy ground a little bit after the second to last Elder Runes might he threw in there between the well and the Keep. If he'd have picked it up like a second earlier, they probably could have got a kill off that, because considering that his opponents were all kind of grouped up in that spot. But yeah, just a minor thing, but they've done so well with that. They've got great damage, just falling back, picking up these camps. Good stuff.
And it's 16-13. They have a full talent lead on their opponents.
Yep.
They can run the battleground right now, getting topped off on mana for now. Definitely the best case scenario for them, especially with Bakery using that Feral Hearts. They'll be able to keep up with the heals. Wouldn't mind seeing some invading from Dignitas. In fact, they're going for it. JPL is on the right side here. Can start clearing up these Mercenary camps. They want to keep the map pushed consistently for this team, so they can continue to control when the beacons pop up in the next minute or so. Playing Ducks on the other side, they need to get to 16, and they need not to get picked off, which are two very difficult things to do.
Oh yes, definitely. We're almost at the point where Yuan Axe is finished here for Mene, so if he can just get in a few more auto attacks against heroes, he's going to be plain sailing. So what happens at with the level 1 is when he finishes it, when 120 attacks hit enemy heroes, he gains 1.1 extra attack range, which means that he'll be so safe. That's another keep falling. And Dignitas, jeez, they've looked powerful on this battleground. I would have loved a bit more of a wild card from Playing Ducks in the draft. I would have loved for them to try Chromie again, but of course it was not to be.
Yeah, I don't know. Chromie and Tassadar and Rhaegar would have been hard. I can see why they didn't go that route, but I think I agree with you. Like, it seems like they need wild cards to even contest here for Dignitas. Big holy ground, locking down Chris Explosion. There goes the taunt. The JPL will walk away. That Imposing Will just kicking in so well for him.
The shield was massive because of how much Tassadar can just provide now with those shields. Of course, you don't get as many of them, but they are bigger down the line. So that's very, very powerful. And just going to push them away again. Still not 16. They're scrambling. They're desperate. They're suffocated here at the moment, are Playing Ducks.
Yeah, the Ducks just flapping around right now. Catapults in the top lane, pushing in. 3 catapults there already, so Nande and Varian will go back to defend it. And this is a dance that Dignitas wants to have their opponents in. Get pressure on the top lane. Once the moment you see someone's up there, you just take away the beacons and you eke out slow amounts of an advantage. At some point, Playing Ducks has to go for a play, and as long as Dignitas is at the ready to take on that play, they should be to go in a team fight. Playing Ducks continues to move in the bottom left. JPL will be locked down there with the Warbringer.
Nice attempt at the holy ground to slow them down from actually getting on towards this beacon. Bought a few seconds there, but of course, Sacred Explosion getting in a very good spot. Spot Billy very much so under pressure. A shield comes out from him. Expulsion Zone is trying to zone out the rest of them from getting on towards him, but that is going to be Zarya. Spot Billy falls. And that means 5 on 4 right now with a full Zerg wave and no keeps. This could quite easily be game.
It certainly could. And the main way for Playing Ducks to deal with this is to get 16 and they start the fight before it even gets to the core. But I don't think they can start the fight. Without Explosion Zone being up, Chris Explosion has a very hard time going in for the pure engage. Here comes Molten Core. Popped out for Zarya. They'll start sieging upon the core. It's getting low. Chris in trouble on the back left. There is a dead Vala. JPL keeping up the engage. Ragnaros continues to siege from afar. Wolf Joe helping out with the heals. Here's Nande. Not really doing too much, just taking health here. And he is taking out Mene. Already on the core. He'll start breaking it down with the axe, and this is going to be GG as the core just melts to the opposing team.
Did he pop Taz Dingo apart from that moment in this entire game?
Sure did.
That was... that was really powerful.
It's a war cry, you know. You're going for the core. You got to yell Taz Dingo. The comp from Dignitas, love it. I love that we see Zul'Jin for the first time here. They showed how to get it done. The Tassadar instant pickup is obviously still a great drafting tool. So teams need to start thinking about that. Don't let Tassadar through.
I think so. I mean, aside from the fact that Zul'Jin only really has Taz Dingo to keep himself alive, there was never moments in that game where Zul'Jin looked under pressure.
Yeah.
Because he had those shields, because he had a strong front line from Dignitas. They got themselves ahead early anyway, but brilliant, brilliant play. To the point where it does have to be slightly feared when this kind of composition comes around.
Gotta agree with you. Game number 4 coming your way. Dignitas is ahead 2-1 over the Playing Ducks.
Heroes of the Storm. Play free and experience the new StarCraft-themed battlegrounds. Rated T for Teen.
So, one day to find that me and my friends are lost. Again! No one said it was your fault, Olaf. But if there's one thing we're good at, it's... Getting lost? No, Balog, we're good at... Now what? Listen, I'm trying to say that if we stick together, there's no obstacle. Oh no! Back up! Oh no! Like I was saying, if we work as a team, the three of us, we can accomplish anything.